YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, APFC, where we talk all things Arsenal, but not exclusively so. Today, we are going to preview the Palace vs Arsenal game tomorrow. For myself, being in Australia, the game time is 11:30 p.m., which in the scheme of things is a very, very good time. So I am pumped for the game. I mean, a lot of times this season, I've not been very pumped for games, particularly towards the end of the Emery era. Um, I was stressed. These games stressed me out, particularly away from home with the sort of record that we've had over the last 18 months to 2 years away from home. These games stressed me. So under Arteta, he is hoping for a brighter future. And I'm really looking forward to this game, but also under no illusions that it's going to be quite a difficult game. Crystal Palace 9th, Arsenal 10th, battle of the mid-table, you know what I'm saying? It will be a very, very interesting game. Our record against Palace over the last 3 to 4 games, I don't think we've beaten Palace in 3 games or so. It's been shaky. The one that comes to mind, the last one, obviously, was our last game where it was a 2-2 draw. Lacazette saved an absolutely disgraceful performance, which it was. At home, 2-2. Got that 93rd minute equaliser or something like that. And then the one that really sticks in the memory was the game last season at the end of the year, which ultimately cost us Champions League qualification, in my opinion. I remember us resting a lot of players. I remember us playing Carl Jenkinson, all those sort of players. And at the end of the day, we lost. It was a 3-2 loss. Zaha turned into a prime Messi. And that was it. And then here we are, still in Europa League, and I really do believe that that particular game was a turning point in our season when we were pushing for Champions League. But enough about that. We are talking about this week's game. As you can see, I got my Arsenal jersey on here. I am pumped for the game. But let's do a little bit of a preview. So Palace have drawn their last 2 games. I think it was in 1-1 both games, or 1-1 and 1 and then 0-0. Their last win was a 2-1 win against West Ham, where Jordan Ayew scored an absolutely fantastic goal where he turned about 2 players and just dinked it over the keeper. It was a very cheeky dink. And they've been performing or overachieving this season. Roy Hodgson, not necessarily a manager that I've rated, but he's done wonders with that Palace team. They've been very, very defensively solid. How I know that is that I've got Martin Kelly in my fantasy team, and that guy's been getting clean sheet after clean sheet. They started the season very brightly, and they're still sitting in the top half of the table more than halfway through the season. So they can be very, very impressed with how they've performed this year. For us, these are the type of games that I'm really looking forward to seeing, in a sense that, yes, we can beat Man United, we can perform well at half the game against Chelsea, but these are the games that will determine if we are turning a corner under Arteta. It has always been these sort of games where we can't get ourselves up for the games, we can't seem to get ourselves motivated. And at the end of the day, these are the sort of games that we should be winning if we want to get to that, back to the Champions League. It will be really interesting to see what happens. We always seem to start very slow away from home. Usually takes us a while to get into the games. Against these lesser sides, as we'll call them, a prime example against Leeds. First half, they were all over us. We had a championship team walking all over us like we weren't even there. Arteta clearly said something to him at halftime, which riled everyone up. And I really like that, because it is about time we had a manager that gets stuck into these players. Sometimes I've noticed over the last 18 months to 2 years, these players don't understand what it means to play for Arsenal. They don't understand the value of the shirt. It's about time a manager comes in and really riles these players up to maximise their potential, not just for themselves, but for the benefit of the football club. And I'm hoping Arteta does that again against Crystal Palace. These, as I said, these are the games. If we can beat Palace away from home and we can get some results against lesser teams, then I will truly start to believe that we've turned a corner. Even last season under Emery, we beat Chelsea 2 or 3-0 at home. We've got some good results against some of the top 6 sides. We beat Spurs. But what let us down was our away form, and that ultimately cost us Champions League at the end of the day. So these are the sort of games that I really need to see a change from the lads, and I'm really, really hoping that we can do so. Team news. Not a lot of an update of team news in the scheme of things from the Leeds game. Bellerin apparently has a tight hamstring. I don't think he'll be playing in the game. I wouldn't be starting him anyway. Tierney obviously out for the long term. Martinelli apparently has a tight hamstring as well, so I'm not sure he's going to be involved. I don't know if Arteta would be starting him anyway, but everyone else seems to be fit. And lineup-wise, this is probably how I'd be looking to go. So obviously Leno in goals. Leno obviously been a rock this season, had that mistake against Chelsea. He's put it behind him. Leno, in my opinion, has a great mentality. He does have an odd mistake in him, but at the end of the day, he's still very young for a goalkeeper. I think he's about 26, 27 for a goalkeeper. That's like the equivalent of an outfield player being maybe like 22, 23. Goalkeepers, they hit their peak after 30 from what I've seen from a lot of goalkeepers. So we've got to be patient with Leno. I think he's very much overachieved for us. It's just a matter of, being patient when he makes that odd mistake. He's had the most shots against him in the Premier League. He's made the most saves. That's probably a lot of it down to our poor defence, but he's been very good this season. So Leno starting in goals. Right back, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, our best right back this season. Someone that I did not rate as right back last season. At the beginning of this year, when he started at right back, he looked shaky again. He's not the answer for me, but he's the best we have right now. Maitland-Niles, the last couple of games, has been pretty solid. A criticism that I have of him is he gives the ball away quite a lot, and for someone that his natural position as a centre midfielder, you wouldn't expect it from him, but he seems to be lacking in confidence in that department right now. But I still would be starting him. Bellerin, for me, I'd be looking to offload. I said that in my previous video. Even if he was fit, I think Maitland-Niles deserves to start. For the centre-backs, we've got a back two of Sokratis and David Luiz. Now, David Luiz has been not brilliant, but he's been very, very good the last 2 to 3 games under Arteta. What I really noticed about David Luiz last game is the team talk, the huddle, how he was motivating these players. Yes, Aubameyang is officially our captain, but from what it looks like, David Luiz seems to be a real leader within the group. I like that. I like that he was riling the players up. At the end of the day, he's probably not my choice of a good centre-back. I wasn't too thrilled when we signed him, but he does have a lot of experience and he does have a brilliant performance in him. He is hoping he can do that against some of the so-called lesser sides. He's definitely starting for me. He's been very good the last couple of games. He's been a lot more... What's the word? He's not as rash. He's not as rash with his performances. He's been a lot better, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play against Palace alongside Sokratis, who played right back the other game against Leeds, and he was very good there. But he'll go back to centre back this game. Again, another player who's been pretty decent under Arteta, and I will give Arteta credit. Our defence seems to have improved. I still think we need to go sign a lot of players at the back. But for now, he looks like he's doing quite a good job with our centre-backs, so he'll be starting for me. Left-back Kolasinac, another player that's he's been leaving everything out on the field the last few games. I still not 100% sure he's the answer, particularly defensively. I think going forward, he's actually very good. However, I have noticed a little bit of a change in Kolasinac over the last few weeks. He seems to have established his timing of when to go forward and when to hold back. Arteta seems to be really looking to utilise the wing-backs. Going forward, as I said, he's got a lot of quality. So I'm very happy for him to be in the side for the meantime if he sorts out his defensive fragilities. But he'll be starting for me for sure. He's hoping Kolasinac can put another very good performance in. I remember him being on his haunches at the end of the Man United game. He put literally everything into that game. Effort is the minimum requirement for these players, and at least I'm starting to see that under the new Arteta era that we are going through. Defensive midfield, or the centre midfielders, we've got Torreira as the DM. Much improved under Arteta. None of this box-to-box crap or an attacking midfielder, Maradona role he was playing under Emery. Back to his natural position. Arsenal fans were very, very frustrated under Emery, seeing Lucas Torreira playing more attacking minded. when we were watching him for Uruguay in the international break, and he was playing very well as that DM. The guy's a warrior. His interception and his knowledge of when to make the interception is his biggest strength in my eyes. He likes a forward pass. He's a terrier. He's very agile. He is that man that we need at defensive midfield. A lot of Arsenal fans, I've noticed, some don't really rate him and don't think he's good enough. I think as a defensive midfielder, he actually is. He just needs that consistent run of games at the DM. Yes, he switched off at the end of last season, but I do feel like his form is slowly starting to come back and he's getting a lot more confidence within his game. So I am looking forward to seeing Torreira start, and I think he will start at the end of the day. Seems to be a big sort of key player under Arteta. I noticed last game he was playing that more screening role. He always seems to stay back with just ahead of the centre-backs now, and that's exactly where he should be playing at the end of the day. So I think Torreira will start next to Granit Xhaka, a figure that divides opinion, but no one can argue that his performances have improved significantly under Arteta. I said in my previous video, Xhaka is best when Torreira is screening. So if these two stick together in that role, we will see the best out of Granit Xhaka. Granit Xhaka will at least be staying until the next window. That is pretty much confirmed from Arteta. He seems to have convinced him to stay. I'm not his biggest fan. I did say that he should never play for Arsenal again after the whole captain saga, but he's here now. It's hard to sign players in January, so we're going to have to look like that. He's going to be a player that will be important for us, and he's got a lot of good qualities to his game. What I've liked about Granit Xhaka actually, and this used to frustrate me, but he seems to have a good knowledge of when to make the foul. He really treads on thin ice sometimes, but what Man City do very well is that when they're getting countered, they'll bring a man down. And I think that's what Arteta is trying to do with us, particularly when we lose the ball and they're breaking through the midfield. Under Emery, we just give him free space. Arteta has seemed to instruct players just to bring him down. Yeah, you might cop a yellow card every now and then, but at the end of the day, if it's necessary, it's necessary. So he seems to be doing a lot of that, and I don't have a problem with that because, our defensive midfielders, or our midfield defensively, has been very poor. So if this helps us not get counted so easily and doesn't open us up, I'm happy with that. No problem with that. So Xhaka for me will definitely start. To our wide midfielders, on one side, Nicolas Pepe. Nicolas Pepe, the man, at the back of my jersey right now. He seems to finally been hitting form. He seems to have a bit more confidence about him. And we really need this from him because let's be real, if Aubameyang ends up leaving, Pepe is going to have to step up in the long run. So we need him to hit this form right now. So for next season, if we do lose some of our attacking players, Pepe is going to step up. At the end of the day, Pepe last season had the most goals and assists behind Messi in the top 5 leagues. The guy has potential. He was rinsing Luke Shaw last game. He had some snippets against Leeds where he was playing very well. He is a key player for us. The way that he brings the ball up the field is mesmerizing at times, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him playing again. He'll definitely start for me. On the other side, it's a tough one. Arteta seems to be a fan of Reiss Nelson. However, I think he's going to start Aubameyang. The reason why I say that is that I think Lacazette will start up front, which means he's not going to play a front two. Doesn't seem to suit our structure and our system. So Aubameyang will play out left. Now, I'm not a big fan of Aubameyang playing on the wing, but based on our defensive fragilities and how we've set up, I think if we played a front two, it'd be too open, particularly on the counter-attack. So I think Aubameyang will have to play out left. His work rate has been phenomenal since Arteta has come in, particularly in the Man United and Chelsea game. He looked gassed at the end of the game. He was in our own box defending at times. And I've got a lot of respect for that, particularly for a striker with that proven record. He may think that defending in some respects is below him, but right now, we need him. We need him to defend. We need to defend from the back. We need him to push forward. We need him to defend from the front. A criticism that I had from him under Emery is he wasn't defending from the front, and neither was Lacazette. So I've noticed he has been doing that. So for me, he'll start out left. Again, not ideal, but it is what it is right now with the players that we have. Reiss Nelson, he's a work in progress. he'll come into the team at some point, but for now, Aubameyang will start out left for me. Mesut Ozil, another player that divides opinion, has been very good under Arteta. He sort of ghosted the Leeds game the other day. He seems to ghost these little games. This is a big test for me. Will Mesut Ozil step up against these so-called lesser sides? He hasn't done so. Sometimes he just can't seem to get himself motivated away from home. Excuse the siren, by the way. I'm just recording upstairs on the terrace. I'll just let this pass. Doesn't seem to be passing. I'll just continue talking anyway. Mesut Ozil, as I said, he hasn't really been able to motivate himself in these lesser games. So it will be very interesting to see if he'll be able to do so against Crystal Palace. Finally, it's gone. Anyway, back to it. He's been very good against Chelsea, especially the first half. That first half against Chelsea, I think, is the best I've seen him play for Arsenal in maybe 3-4 years. That first half really stood out to me. Yes, he was good against United, but that first half against Chelsea is the real benchmark I want to see of Mesut Ozil. He was pulling off dummies. He was coming back to sort of link the midfield. He was pushing forward to combine with Lacazette up top. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Mesut Ozil can do. Again, Mesut Ozil does not excite me. He has not been exciting me lately, but I am now excited to see that can Mesut Ozil really perform to the level that he should be performing. I think Arteta seems to be getting a tune out of him. He seems to be running a lot more defensively, which I haven't really seen him do at Arsenal ever. He used to do it a lot at Real Madrid, but not for Arsenal. And I've got a lot of respect for Arteta getting a good tune out of him. So for me, Ozil will be starting at that centre attacking midfield role, linking the midfield with the attack. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Up front, Alex Lacazette. Now, it's a very interesting dilemma Lacazette is in. It's a bit of a catch-22 because he's not been scoring goals. I acknowledge that. He's not been scoring goals at all. But what he's been offering up top is second to none. First of all, his work rate has been phenomenal. Yes, it's a minimum requirement. We should be expecting 100% work rate from all our players. But it's, for someone his size, the way that he backs onto defenders as a target man sort of position is phenomenal for a guy that sort of size. The way that he links up with the wingers, the way that he links up with the midfielders, there's not a lot of Premier League forwards that can do that. I'm not saying he's as good as Roberto Firmino, but he plays that sort of role for us, and I'm wondering if Arteta is looking to employ him in that sort of role. The centre-forward role has really changed in football over the years. At first, it was a lot to do with scoring goals, but we've seen with Roberto Firmino at Liverpool, we've seen with Olivier Giroud for France, there's a lot more to it, and I think Lacazette offers that sort of role in respect of linking our forward play with the wingers and then linking with our midfielders. I think he will score against Palace, actually. I think he'll finally break his duct, and from the way that he's been performing, it's well deserved. So Lacazette will start for me. To summarise, that's a 4-2-3-1. And I think we'll actually get the job done against Palace. I'm predicting a 2-1 win. I think we'll score first. I think they'll equalise. I'm predicting Lacazette to score, and I'm actually predicting Aubameyang or Pepe to score. Here's hoping, because we've not performed very well against Crystal Palace. As I said, it's the battle of the mid-table right now. But I do think we'll get the win. And I think Arteta will make sure, particularly with the first half Leeds performance in mind, that we'll be motivated from the very beginning. I don't think we'll get top 4, but mathematically it's still in reach. So we might as well give it a good crack. For me, it's about rebuilding. It's not the be-all and end-all that, if we get top 4, yes, we need it, but with the way that we've started the season, we've got to be realistic with some of the other competition that we have for the top 4. But they will see it as still achievable, particularly because we've only played 21, 22 games this season in the Premier League. So, yeah, 2-1 win with Lacazette to score and Aubameyang or Pepe to score. And I do think that we will see another solid performance from our centre-backs. Here's hoping anyway. But thanks for tuning into my video, guys. Please look out for another video tomorrow. I'll be doing a daily transfer update. Again, this is APFC, all Arsenal content, but not exclusively so. Please like, please subscribe to my videos, and thanks for watching.